This is Fulvio Blasi. I'm the director of the Thomas International Center, and I'm very happy to have Msgr Ntuwa with us today. Msgr is the Catholic campus minister at NC State University, one of the major universities in the Triangle, and he is with us for our interview program. Thank you very much for being with us today, Msgr.
Thank you so much, Fulvio.
So, Msgr,
I'm glad to be here with you.
Thank you. So, first of all, tell us something about yourself, how you became a priest, your studies, how you ended up in Raleigh, actually, from your own country.
Yes, that's great. So, well, as you said, I was born and raised in Uganda. Uganda is a small country. It's about the size of Oregon. And it's a tropical country in the heart of Africa. I was born and raised there. I did all my education in Uganda at first. Uganda was a British protectorate, so the education system is similar to that of England. We have primary education, so I went at a Catholic school, St. Joseph's Primary School. Then after 7 years, I went to a junior seminary. I did my secondary school, and then I went to high school. After the high school, I definitely went on to St. Thomas Aquinas National Seminary.
Glad to hear
that. To read philosophy. And after the philosophy classes, of course, I had a year which we call a year of pastoral experience. And I was asked to go to a junior seminary to help out with that. I did a full year of pastoral experience.
When did you decide to become a priest?
It's so amazing. I was just a young boy.
High school?
No, I was quite early when I took my first Holy Communion. I started to become an altar server. And as I started serving Mass, I definitely loved, enjoyed. We had a wonderful priest who was a very good homilist, and he was really very, very, very kind and very good to us. So I developed that idea, and I said, I think I want to be a priest. So I told my mother, Mom, do you know, when I grow up, I want to be a priest. And that was the genesis of my vocation.
How did she react?
She said, well, you are only little, but, well, let's see what plans God has for you. And then that's why I went to the junior seminary when I was young. But of course, I was in the...
Can I ask you, this is very interesting to me. How important do you think the role of your parents, or the parents in general, is for the vocation of a young boy, I mean, who is really trying to discern what to do with his life?
Probably not only parents, but people you interact with help you a great deal, in the sense that the call or the vocation is not something that just God comes and talks to you, Fulvio, I want to be a priest, but people that we relate with. It could be a priest. It could be somebody who says, by the way, have you ever thought about that? But for me, the genesis came, and of course, the people I was with, my siblings, my parents, the teachers, they all encouraged me because they realized I think I was passionate about. I loved serving Mass. It was always the highlight. Being a Catholic school, we had a school Mass, and then also we had Sunday Mass. So I was always there, and I used to organize my fellow students, fellow kids, those who always wanted to serve. So I was the head altar boy. And then, so I went through, I did my theology at St. Mary's National Seminary in Uganda, and in 1988, I was ordained a priest. And after being ordained a priest, my bishop sent me to work at the junior seminary as a teacher, and I taught physics, actually, because during my high school, I did physics, chemistry, and mathematics. I loved the sciences. So I taught physics, but without proper training. So I taught that for about 5 years, and then I had an opportunity to go to the United Kingdom. I went to the University of Lancaster, where I studied physics. I did a Bachelor of Science honors degree in physics. And because I wanted also to teach, I went on to do a master's degree in physics and education. Why did I do physics? Because, you know, when the missionaries came to Uganda, they established schools. And whenever they set up a church, they had a school and they had a health center. And most of our schools, most of our churches, most of our parishes have got schools that are connected to them, and they have got health centers as well, and of course sometimes some places for social outreach. So I knew many of us are still involved in the education. So that's why after my graduation at Lancaster, I went back to Uganda and I taught at a high school, which is a junior seminary. But at the same time, on a part-time basis, I was at our Catholic University in Uganda, which is Uganda Matters University. So I was a visiting lecturer there.
What city?
Sorry?
In what city?
It is between Kampala, the capital city, and another a small city town called Masaka. So it's around the equator. It's not far from the equator, where you have the line crossing the northern hemisphere and the southern hemisphere.
Excellent. And in what language did you teach in this university?
Yes, English. Oh. English is the language of communication in Uganda, just because most of the African countries are either Anglo, Franco, or we have a few that are Portuguese. But you see, when at the partition of Africa, the colonial powers took different areas. Uganda was in the British colony, and that's why the language that is being used in courts of law, in schools, it's English, despite the fact that we have a lot of ethnic languages. We have different languages. Personally, I speak Luganda, but we have people who speak different languages altogether, because we have at least over 20 languages in that country. That is almost as big as Oregon.
So would be English the language that everybody understands in Uganda, or you have another common language that is understood by everybody in the country?
I think the most one that is being understood by most Ugandans is English. Whenever you go to a school, the mode of teaching is always English. Of course, in the eastern around the East African coast, we also have Swahili. Swahili is mainly widely spoken in Tanzania and Kenya and parts of Congo, but also in parts of Uganda. But I would say in Uganda, people, those who have been to school, definitely speak.
You taught physics in high school, but what did you teach in the Catholic University?
Again, physics.
Again, physics.
Again, physics, because I had done a master's degree at Lancaster. So I taught both levels. I taught high school kids, and then I also foundation science to the undergraduates.
So did your students ask you about, at least on a usual basis, questions about faith and reason and the way in which theology is in harmony with physics or contemporary science in general?
Definitely that came up. I just remember very well when I was still a student, even in England, one of my fellow students said, well, do you know, I'm studying physics just because, well, I don't believe there is God. And I said, what are you talking about? I told him, well, I believe God. I am a Christian. I am a Catholic. I am a Catholic priest, and I'm studying physics. So I told him I don't think they are incompatible. Definitely, the gift of faith does not. Whenever you study physics, personally, I didn't find it to be incompatible with my faith at all. But my concern mainly for physics was, okay, because when I did the master's degree, it was mainly to try to see how best we can definitely teach the students, the kids, some of those concepts, especially the concepts that many thought were quite hard. So with that dissertation, mine was always to try to see how best can we definitely introduce modern physics concepts, especially when you go into the quantum world, because you have to unlearn Newtonian mechanics because of the development that happened after at the turn of the century.
And then you ended up in Raleigh. What about Raleigh?
Yes, that's a very good question, Fulvio. You know what happened as we had this being in education sector. So when I returned, I taught at the Catholic University, and I taught also at the high school, and I worked as also a director of vocations. That is a priest who accompanies students who are discerning their vocation to the priesthood. Having done that for about, I think it was about 6 years, I thought I could do a bit more in the education sector. And so I had two choices, whether to go on and continue with my physics and do a PhD. But then I thought that would only bring me into the university setup. So I said, well, why don't I do something in management and information technology? Good enough, the university I went to in England, the management school, had a wonderful course which had modules in information technology, management, and organization change. So I enrolled for that, and I went to Lancaster again. So instead of going further in physics, I did another master's degree in IT, management, and organization change. But because I was a priest, I also wanted to see how the church can definitely use IT. So my dissertation was about the church in the digital age. While I was still in Lancaster, I had an invitation to come to Raleigh, to a parish here in the Triangle, St. Michael's in Kerry, because they were going to celebrate the feast of the Uganda martyrs. And they asked me to come and be the preacher. That's when I realized how the church in the United States had embraced information technology. So after my graduation, I came to Raleigh for an internship to see how the church has used information technology. And the internship was a 12 months period. The bishop here assigned me to 2 parishes, and once a week I used to go to the Catholic Center in the computer services department. So I did that for a full year, and that was 2006. On completion of my internship, I went back to Uganda, and my bishop appointed me the chancellor of the diocese. And because I had done IT and management, part of my task was to digitize the systems at our diocesan headquarters. And I'm happy to say we did something to make sure that at least we also move into the digital world. Yeah.
Do you think the church in general is using well and to its full potential?
Yes, and things have gone so. I mean, in the past few years, it's amazing. Everybody's on Twitter or whatever. So the church is definitely utilizing that. There's no doubt about that, because that's the way forward, really.
Now you are at NC State University.
Yes.
And so you're dealing with American students.
Yes.
And I was wondering, because we are really interested in education at the Thomas International Center, what differences would you highlight between American students and your students at the Catholic University in Uganda? Are they? I notice, for example, from my viewpoint, especially with also with European students, I noticed that students today in the Western countries tend to be very skeptical. Moral relativism is a major deal. I wonder whether it's the same in Uganda or in Africa in general.
Well, what I would say, I think it depends. One thing I realize, of course, you first asked about the students here at NC State. I'm amazed. I mean, I work with a number of students at NC State because I'm the campus minister for the Catholic Campus Ministry. But we have a lot, the students love their faith. They have the fire for the Lord, and they want to make the Lord known to their fellow students. They do quite a lot. And that is exhibited in their way of life. We have different programs that take place at NC State. We have sacraments, we have the Eucharist, we celebrate Mass differently, practical almost every day, and on Sunday you have lots and lots of students who do come because we have Mass in the cinema. And one thing that always has been an inspiration to me is that these students love their faith. They want to know God. They want to know more, and they will always reach out to you either for the sacrament of reconciliation or for a bit of counseling and so forth. I've not met a lot of sort of skepticism, really, in the true sense of the word, and that has greatly inspired me. That has greatly inspired me, and it's a source of an inspiration to see that these young students do love. That does not mean that probably there are others who are probably not in the faith who would be skeptical about whatever is taking place.
Clearly, you deal mostly with the Catholic students who come to the sacraments,
exactly,
right?
because that's my focus with the campus ministry, and but the others would respect you when they see you come. You know, they will just give a smile. They will say, "Oh, Father," and sometimes they say, "Oh, you priest, oh, you are having Mass," and something of the sort. Yeah.
No, they're very respectful. But
Yeah.
you know, some of the students told me that some of the students, even at NC State, told me that with their fellow students it's very hard. I mean, they really don't believe in any absolute truth, especially in morality.
But the only thing is that that they respect each other's faith and that kind of thing. Probably they will not go out to attack you on something of this sort.
That's definitely not an issue. What about students in Uganda? What differences did you notice between?
I think the students in Uganda are they also love their faith, but probably they don't have a lot of things in the sense of resources and what is available for them. Uganda is a developing country, and you realize, I think, they don't have, the opportunities are not as abundant as they are here. They do love their faith, they are committed to their faith, and but as in a society, you'll also get some that will definitely fall by the wayside and so forth. Either they will get involved in things like drugs and so forth, but generally it's a very religious country, and people take their faith seriously, though sometimes there is a disparity between what people believe in and their way of life.
And it's mostly Catholic, or there are also other denominations, religions?
Yes, there are other religions as well. According to the latest census, Uganda is about, I think, 84% Christian, and of the Christians, probably about 42% are Catholics, and then I think about 38% are with the Anglican Communion, which is called the Church of Uganda. But then we have, I think, about 12% adhere to Islam, and have 1% who are doing something, who are in the traditional religions. And that's why we do still have one of the issues in Uganda, and that's the issue of child sacrifice. There are some people who still believe in witchcraft and that kind of thing, so they will abduct children and then sacrifice them because of money and that kind of thing. So that is still one of issue that
so they kidnap children and then they sacrifice children.
They sacrifice children and that kind of thing.
To what god? I mean, what kind of religion are these people believing in?
People, it's a fraudulent business in the sense, because people would think that probably if they traffic in, let's say...
Or it's superstition, it's not even a religion.
Exactly, wow. Exactly. It is... these are some of the issues, the moral issues that probably we do face. We do face.
In the whole country or just in some regions?
Well, in some regions, because people will be told that, well, somebody goes to somebody to superstition, that kind of thing, and if you produce this, you will be extra rich and something of the sort, and then they go out because the children are the most vulnerable, so that right. they are the easy targets.
So what are the main issues that the Catholic Church faces in Uganda, which may be different than issues that we face in other countries, in the US or in Europe?
I would say, really, Fulvio, practically it would be the same. I think what we normally have, because human nature is the same, and I would say a disparity between what we believe in and how we practice our faith. When you look at that, Uganda is predominantly a religious country. You don't expect to see some of the atrocities that are being committed. And that's the thing that is across all over the world. Despite the fact that people are religious, then they will do all sorts of things. Some will kill in the name of religion. Others will do all sorts of things. So I think that goes across. So that's the challenge we all have, to make sure that definitely, if we know that we believe in God, He's a merciful God. He wants us to live in peace with everybody. So I think if we take the commandments of the Lord very seriously, in whatever religion that people do believe in, probably the world would be a better place to live in. But sometimes it's the disparity of what people believe in and how because personally I definitely know that Christianity is a way of life. It's not just a set of doctrines, but a way of life. And to live really a true Christian life, you have to know that you have to love your friends, you don't have to hate your enemies and so forth. Yeah.
There is a lot of persecution against Christianity in Africa. What are the main countries? Is Uganda one of the countries which...
Not really. The good thing about what we do have, at the beginning of Christianity and Islam, that was at the turn of, that was in the 1800s, because Christianity came to Uganda in 1877, the Anglican Church, and 1879, the Catholic Church, and of course the Muslims had come slightly earlier, and there were religious wars. The religious wars took place during those times. But now people have got freedom of worship, so people respect others. People either they go to their mosques on Sunday, and so we do not have really at the moment people live together very well, but that has come with the bit of the dialogues that have taken place, interfaith dialogue. We do have interfaith dialogue in Uganda. We have ecumenism and that kind of thing. So that has helped people to appreciate one another, to understand that people probably adhere to different kind of religions.
Just last question, also related to the activities we organize together at NC State. So we have a student club, and some students are really active.
Yes.
And we organized, as you very well know, because we've been together on these several lectures, and we have something already planned for next year. And we try to challenge, especially students, to think about the foundations of their faith and faith and reason. How important do you think this is in general for students today?
I think it will be very, very, very nice. You see, when students are at college, young adults, you could say they are at crossroads. They have so many things. They have so many voices taking them into different directions. But if we have such opportunities and they will be interactive, they will ask different kind of questions, and they have very, very inquisitive minds, and that helps. Actually, at NC State, we have what we call life classes. They take place every Sunday. Life as in LYFE, live your faith every day. Theological discussion, and they choose their topics. They want to know more about their faith, and that helps a great deal. So with also Thomas International coming in with those kind of lectures to enable their thinking, that's wonderful. It's a wonderful opportunity, and I'm definitely looking forward to working with Thomas International, so that at least every semester, if we can have, chip in a couple of lectures and advertise them very well, it will be a very good platform.
We'll do it. Well, Monsignor, thank you very much for being with us today. And, please pray for our activities. We'll pray for your
Thank
ministry.
you so much for whatever you're doing, and thank you for inviting me to be with you to just to have this wonderful conversation. And we definitely hope the work of Thomas International reaches greater heights.
Thank you very much, Father.
Great. Have a great day.